When I'm going over aviation accidents, I like to sit back with a nice medium roast nabob coffee. Full, rich, body flavor. A nice rich blend, and a coffee that stands out over others. Nabob, a premium blend coffee. Buy it today. You know, when it comes to coffee, the rest just don't simply measure up. Nabob, if I can drink it, so can you. Hello everybody, we're going to be talking about some more aviation stuff here today. Today I'm going to be talking about the Grumman GA7 Cougar twin crash. The crash date for this aircraft was February 1st, 2024. The tail number for this aircraft was November 887 Charlie Charlie. This crash occurred at Coatesville, Chester County Airport, and the crash occurred just after takeoff regarding an engine failure on the right engine. The airplane departed runway 29 and was seen by witnesses doing a right descent turn and ended up in a stall spin crash. After reviewing some of the stuff on the internet, I was looking at Juan Brown's channel, Blancolirio. He really went over the accident quite well, starting with the crash site where you could see that the right engine was not feathered. So that's what I think happened here, because taking a look at this Grumman Cougar twin aircraft, it's a very, very underpowered aircraft. And if you don't feather the engine, you simply do not have the power to climb out. It's just that it has very small engines on it, and you really need to clean that airplane up if you're going to have a chance to get up and save the airplane. So what happened here is that you got this pilot, I believe he was like 75 years old, and I believe he also got his license late in life too, so he was kind of like a weekend warrior. So his skill level wasn't there, and probably not as fast thinking as he used to be due to his elderly age. And when he rotated out with the aircraft, I think he went into what they call panic situation, right? He was unprepared, and he kind of froze up. So I'm just going to go over what I think happened here with my little demonstration model that I have here. I have my nice little water bottle again. So this is the right engine that we think that has failed in this flight here. We also got the flight data as well that you can see on Juan Brown's Blancolirio show, where he shows his rotation speed at 89 knots, and then later on the road there, when he's just before his crash, he's down to like 67 knots. And I believe this aircraft stalls at 71. So he was probably having a little bit of wind off his nose for his ground speed, and he was basically trying to get up. He was trying to get up. So what I'm trying to get at now is, I think there's a training problem in the general aviation area, and I don't really think it's anybody's fault. It's because I'm guilty of it too. I went through the training as well. They were always training you to fly an airplane, to rotate down the runway, start climbing out, blow an engine, and then aim for best rate climb, right? Okay, if you got the horsepower, it works. But if you're flying something like a Grumman twin, it just doesn't have the power. So what you're going to have to do to prevent disaster from happening is to lower the nose. And the other thing that the training is failing in is that it really wants people to take off on the runway and get up to pattern altitude. Should never, never, never be in a hurry to get to pattern altitude if you got an engine failure after takeoff. Plain and simple. Alright? So, what happened here is this guy took off down the runway, everything was normal, rotated out, and then shortly after takeoff, probably when he got the gear up, that's when this engine quit on him. And then when it quit on him, he panicked, and then he didn't feather the engine. And what that did is it went, the propeller stopped, and it didn't go to feather, and it was in a flat position, and that creates some serious parasite drag, creating what? Yaw. Alright? So that's what I think happened here. He didn't feather it, and he created some parasite drag and some yaw. And now the aircraft is now fighting against itself. Alright? And you can see on the flight path that he did make it up to 1,000 feet. So he's really trying to get up to that pattern altitude and just kind of hanging on the stall at like 67, 68 knots. And he's just flying straight, and eventually he gets into a stall spin. And what really makes it bad is that when he went into the spin, if you take a look at the crash site, that's not a spin crash, that's a flat spin crash. So that guy was in a panic situation, so when he even went over into the spin, he left the power on the good engine and then ended up in a flat spin. And you can see the crash site. It's a perfect pancake with no trenches. It's just straight down. Alright, so don't do what he did. So I'm just going to go over the procedures with you so that if you are flying a light twin, don't be in a hurry to climb the airplane. Get the nose down and fly straight. Especially with an engine failure in an emergency situation, you're not going to get violated on your license, alright, for low flying. So if you want to do some low flying in your life, this is your chance to enjoy yourself without getting killed. So you go down the runway, you rotate out normally, you clean up the gear, and all of a sudden, bang, boom. Step on the rudder and lower the nose and just clear the obstacles at the end of the runway. So houses are about 30 feet high, trees are about 50 feet high, so all you need is a good 100 feet, 150 feet, and stay right there. Because when you come off the runway with an underpowered airplane, it's low and slow. So what you got to do is trade off altitude for speed. Get the altitude speed up, fly down the runway, fly over the houses, fly over the trees, build up that airspeed till you get your 85 knots, which is the best rate of climb for this aircraft, and then wallow your way up. If it starts to get too slow, again, lower the nose again and get that speed up. And you're going to be doing this, just trying to get this plane up. And as I said before in my other videos, it could take you 5 miles, especially on a hot day, high pressure altitude airport. Alright, you got a heavy load on, you got lots of people on, right? So it might take time to get to altitude. And once again, you're not going to get burned for low flying. Don't have that tendency to always want to get up and get to circuit altitude. Stay down low, get your speed up. Alright, once you get your speed up, you'll sit there, you got lots of gas, you're only burning half now, straighten her out, do your chant, mixtures, props, power, identify, verify, feather, stay down low, 100 feet, and then when you got your speed good, start coming up, and then watch that speed, hold your heading, and just start wallowing your way up. Now use the word wallow, not even climb, wallow, because sometimes best rate's going to work that day. And then you might have to bring it down a bit again to get some more speed again, especially in an underpowered aircraft, okay? And the last thing I wanted to go over, which proves my point, if you really go over to Juan Brown's channel and you take a look at that Grumman Cougar twin crash, at the end of the video, he's showing some other boys in a Grumman Cougar coming off an airstrip. And they got full load of guys in there. Looks like they didn't do any chase charts or anything. They just kind of look like weekend warriors, which is fine. But they're climbing out, and you can see in the video, I'll put it up here for you now, you can see it. They're coming off the runway, and what do you see? You see lots of green pasture, cow country, no obstacles. And now they're at 300-400 feet, and you can hear inside the cockpit the stall horn going off. Because they're trying to get up. When they don't have to get up, stay low. You're over cow country, you're heavy. Stay low, fly over the cows, build up that speed, take your time getting up. So if someone did try to burn you for that, you can say, hey, I'm getting a stall horn, I got to push that nose down and stop climbing in order to maintain safe flight. And then eventually we did get back up. But they'll probably burn you for not doing a chase chart, but that's another story. So you can see that in his video there. So that's what I think is going on here, is that it's a training problem with the FAA. You're training your pilots to be airline jet jockeys, but the other general aviation people are going out and buying light twins with no power. So when they have an engine failure after takeoff, their tendency is always to climb, when they should be not climbing and flying straight ahead to trade off speed first, then get altitude. Because when you're up here like this, just hanging on with full power, you got all that induced drag hitting here. You're not going to gain speed. The only way you're going to gain speed is getting that nose down, and maybe even start coming down a little bit. Get the airflow going, and then level off again, and then try to work your way up, targeting your blue line speed. And that's it. But don't be in a hurry to climb. What killed this guy was he was in a hurry to climb, and he panicked, and he didn't feather the engine. That's it. And you can see the other guys that flew right there in that other Cougar. So this is the problem with that Cougar. It doesn't have much power. So when you're coming off the runway, get that nose down if it's not going to fly too good. Especially if you're hearing the stall horn. You should never hear the stall horn ever, especially at 300 feet, 400 feet. Get the nose down. Let the speed build up. And then come out at your 85 knots for this aircraft, the blue line. Best rate, 85 knots. And these things won't happen. Alright? So that's pretty much it for this accident. And stay tuned for my next video. And so long, and take care, everybody. Cheers. When it's time for me to do my multi-IFR flight test, I always like to take a tissue that I can count on, and that is Royale. Royale is soft and strong, and if I fail my flight test, Royale is able to capture all the tears of my shame and disgrace. Royale, if I can cry in one, so can you. Royale tissues, ready for your next failure.